Okay, what did I just watch? I just watched the first couple episodes, like first three episodes of Koala Man. Just bland. Like I say, it's the best way to describe it. It's a surreal show. It looks like an adult cartoon, but it looked like it's leaning more in the kids territory and sort of like using soda instead of like a drug reference and all these other stuff. The main character is like Red Pim. I'd be real with you. Koala Man is a really not a good show to understand, man. Anyhow, it's your boy Culmer, and I had to talk about my first impressions with Koala Man. And the show is, to me personally, is just a very mixed bag. I first watched it assuming it was an adult cartoon, but it turns out it's quite the opposite. To get a Bob Burgers vibe when it comes to being surreal, but it just fall flat. Like Bob Burgers work with a cast of characters, wacky characters, but this show it seems to not work like that at all. Like I honestly think the show would have been even more interesting if it was just live action. So if you don't know, Koala Man is basically made by the co-creator of Smile and Friends, which is also has his own YouTube channel. But what different sets aside part between that one is while it just feels like a more expensive and grounded YouTube show with like good cast of characters and wacky situations, you just get Bob Burger's surrealness, but not into a point where it actually works, into a point that it actually makes my brain mushy. And I explain it. It's basically set in like an alternate timeline in which the Titanic never happened in America, got destroyed, but set Hollywood, which makes no sense. It's like saying 9/11 never happened. Okay, then America was still been sounding like if you change that, it also just sounds very bizarre and crazy that somebody would come up with that as a premise. Anyhow, Australia local superhero Koala Man, basically though by the same guy, who do Pym, but it just doesn't really work for the character because the character doesn't really have much of a personality, and him be played by Pym, which is much more different because while he's like the same character, Pym has more friends around him, like wacky situations, sort of like the straight man. This guy doesn't have no wacky characters running around, so he just comes across as really just randomly boring. And then he has a family, which is love and rife. The kid, his daughter who want to be popular, and his son, which is way more special than any of the other characters. And to me, I just don't really understand like the mindset behind it. Is like it's not a comedy, but it's surreal enough that is exists, and like it isn't bad. It isn't like it's not trying to be anything, but it just to me it just like you got cartoony stuff like when you want to, but to me it doesn't even feel like cartoon. It just feels very bland and disjointed. Again, the biggest highlight I guess is just because it's surreal. Is like you can be like I don't know, sewn out of your mind to watch it, but it just to me it's just
Kevin's just been so preoccupied with being Koala Man that he's missed every date night. I've
that's it. That's his secret identity because nobody cares about him. They got people in the show knowing that he's Koala Man, and they don't care. He's not important.
You're not even a real superhero. Everyone hates ya.
You go away. Fucking hate ya.
Nobody cares about Koala Man. That's why the public don't even cares about him. And the only good thing about the show, they just use for the marketing. The main character is literally just basically Pip from Smiley Friends with bad characters sprinkled around. Hugh Jackman is just literally just a side character, and they use him to market this god awful show. And in conclusion, you can find some good stuff about the show, but personally, with the Family Guy graphics, I personally can't find any in it. It's just a very bland show that I don't really think should not exist, but I don't see the purpose.